strike Beirut, but there is still fighting in southern Lebanon. So just break it down for us. Where do things stand in that country right now?
Yeah, well, we've heard from Benjamin Netanyahu saying that the situation hasn't changed, though it does sound as though he went along with President Trump's demand that they not attack Beirut. But actually, Netanyahu, the IDF, have been striking the neighborhood of Dahia south of Beirut consistently since a ceasefire was put in place, and several times under a previous set of ceasefire agreements. So this war, this fight, according to Benjamin Netanyahu himself, is really still ongoing. This ceasefire is and has always, since it was signed a couple of weeks ago, existed almost entirely in name only. And that's why Benjamin Netanyahu is coming under considerable pressure and criticism within Israel from among particularly residents of northern Israel who say that he needs to stand up to President Trump and demand that Israel have the right to continue fighting against Hezbollah. Hezbollah is the largest benefactor of Iran, really in the world, among any of Iran's major proxies. So for the Iranians, keeping Hezbollah intact is very important to their ability to project power and to bring the fight right up to Israel's doorsteps. Iran continues to exist. Its regime is staying in place. Hezbollah is staying in place so far and is still able to put up a surprisingly tough fight against the Israelis. So for the Israelis, this whole situation is something of a nightmare. It's their worst case scenario. They're being forced to finish the fighting against Iran without their major goals being resolved, and now they're being forced to finish the fight against Hezbollah with the residents of northern Israel still very much within Hezbollah's crosshairs.
So, Matt, in the wake of this, President Trump stated on Truth Social yesterday he actually spoke with representatives of Hezbollah. And if that's true, help us understand just how unprecedented that would be.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds unprecedented, but I believe the president did say that he had done this indirectly through intermediaries speaking with Hezbollah. If he spoke with Hezbollah officials directly, that would be very unprecedented and probably illegal. Hezbollah is a designated terrorist organization by the United States. It comes under sanctions. Its military operations are illegal in East law, and this was a very recent addition with. So that would be a very controversial and unprecedented move. It sounds as though he most likely, if it's true, we have heard the president kind of exaggerating over the past couple of weeks particularly, but if it is true, then it would mean that the president has done something that few other presidents have done. Remember, we are speaking to the Iranians through intermediaries. That's something that isn't normally done either. There are ways around these prohibitions against speaking directly to terrorist groups.
All right, Matt Bradley. Matt, thank you so much. President Trump has signed a new executive order today focused on artificial intelligence. It lays the foundation out for federal testing of the world's most powerful AI systems before they're publicly released. Now, the testing would rely on voluntary collaboration from the nation's top AI companies. Let's bring in NBC News White House correspondent Monica Albus. Monica, the president was expected to sign this executive order weeks ago. Why the delay, and what exactly does this say?
Yeah, this did come as a little bit of a surprise today, Joe, because it was President Trump a couple of weeks ago when he shelved the original signing ceremony, who said that he wasn't sure what this would mean for the U.S. competitiveness on AI when it comes to other countries that are working on similar technology, and saying that he maybe wanted to make some adjustments to it. But it's unclear what is a little bit different in this order based on our reporting versus what was going to be signed a couple of weeks ago. But what was different is, as I noted, it was done behind closed doors without any kind of fanfare. And originally, a few weeks ago, we understand that the White House had invited some top CEOs and leaders of various AI groups who would be present for something like this typically, who would be with the president when he signed an executive order, and again, would do that in front of cameras. So the decision to do it a little bit differently today does raise some questions, but it is a pretty significant partnership with some companies, with some groups that the White House has had some friction with in the past, but has also tried to have more meetings with and more meaningful partnership on the mass scale of this technology and its implications. Joe.
Monica, from artificial intelligence to national intelligence, the president naming a new acting director of national intelligence. He does not have a lot of experience in this field. He's getting some pushback from the top Republican in the Senate. Walk us through what we should know here.
Yeah, we should say plainly. I mean, he has no background in national security or any kind of intelligence that could make him qualified for this role, according to critics of this move, and according to those of both parties, Republicans and Democrats, who are raising questions about his qualifications. This is somebody who is currently the head of the Federal Housing Finance Agency, who has actually been the one to help fuel some investigations and probes into the president's perceived political enemies, some of which did result in charges, some of which were ultimately dropped. And so this is just really a pretty significant and stunning move from the president. He's a very close ally of the president's, and so he's being put in this capacity, we understand, in a temporary role, Joe, which means that he can do it for about 200 days or so before the president needs to make a decision about whether this is somebody who would become the permanent director of national intelligence or whether he would nominate someone else. And remember that this is happening because DNI Tulsi Gabbard is leaving the administration in a few weeks, she says, because her husband is battling a health issue. Joe.
Monica Alba at the White House. Monica, thank you. We are just over 4 months away from the midterm elections. Some key races in November will be shaped today. The June primary season kicks off today with elections in 6 states. The polls are open in California, Iowa, Montana, New Jersey, New Mexico, and South Dakota. 2 contests in the Golden State are in the spotlight. First, the race for Los Angeles mayor. Incumbent Karen Bass is being challenged by Democratic City Council member Nithya Raman and former reality TV star Spencer Pratt, who's running as a Republican. Second is the race to succeed Governor Gavin Newsom. It's a crowded field of candidates on the ballot today. The top 2 will face off in November. NBC News correspondent Dana Griffin is in San Francisco, where voters are casting their ballots. Dana, you're normally based in Los Angeles, so let's start with the mayor's race in that city. Polls showed it was pretty much close to a dead heat heading into today, so take us through the top issues on voters' minds there.
Joe, the top issues: affordability, safety, the response to the wildfire recovery efforts, and also homelessness. Those are major issues, and Californians really want their next leader to make changes that are visible. Right now, you've got the top 3, as you mentioned, Karen Bass, Nithya Raman, and that reality star Spencer Pratt, who is running on a grievance campaign. His house burned down in the Palisades fire, and I've talked to many voters. This is a very deep blue state, and so I spoke with one voter who says that they don't even vote Republican because he is a registered Republican, but in this case they like what he has to say. So in that race, if someone does not get 50% of the vote, the top 2 vote getters will advance to the November election. Joe?
Dana, there is no clear front runner, at least right now, in the governor's race, so what you'll be watching for in tonight's results there?
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if we get all of the results tonight and if there is the top 2 vote getters, or if we can call that race, so to speak, because about 90% of Californians vote by mail. We've seen dozens of people stopping by at this ballot drop box, turning in their ballots, and most of that was by design. Listen to why many are dropping off their ballots at the last minute.
Everybody said for governor, like, hold your vote until like the last, because there are so many. It's hard to find the one you wanted to vote for. But yeah, usually I vote a lot earlier, but this time I did hold on until the last moment.
And that's because there was no real clear frontrunner for a lot of voters, since former Rep. Eric Swalwell dropped out because of sexual misconduct allegations that he denies. Right now, the top 3 candidates are former Health and Human Services Secretary Javier Becerra, Trump-endorsed Republican Steve Hilton, and billionaire climate activist Tom Steyer. And just like with the mayor's race, the top 2 vote getters will advance to the November election, and it'll be interesting to see who comes out on top. Joe?
Long night ahead in California. Dana Griffin, thank you so much. And we will have special coverage of tonight's